What's up, everyone? Thanks for stopping by my channel, Esteemed Queen and Mentality. Be sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below so that way you get to know when I post all of my TeaTalks. I hope everyone is doing well, swell, thriving, and surviving, child. Woo! I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. Everyone was safe. Everyone is okay. Hello, my new subscribers. I'm so happy that you stopped by. For all my returning subscribers, you already know what to do. Get your water, get your wine, get whatever it is that you sipping on. Get it and bring it close. Now, I'm in the midst of stalking the mailman. So, charge it to my head, not my heart. It is a Monday, so I have packages that have to go out. In addition to, I have Walmart orders that I need to pack at the same time. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of everything. Looking out the window, looking down, putting together orders, you name it. If you're interested in anything of Arts of 3634, Nilo & Co., all that information is down below with my other church announcements. But outside of that, come on, gather in the room. Get your water, get your wine, get whatever it is that you're sipping on. Get it and bring it close. Now, I done had about 2 hot flashes trying to sit here and record. Then the first time I recorded, I felt like I was like babbling in the worst way. And my phone kept ringing. So I was just like, you know what? I'm putting everything on DMB. And I'm just going to do this straight, okay? Now, like I said, get your water, get your wine, get whatever it is. Get it and bring it close. This Tea Talk is inspired and sponsored by my real life. I remember back in 2021 or so, I remember I was in the midst of selling my house and relocating. And so I went ahead and I had called my dad. And I had explained the situation. Because any other time, he wants me to let him know if something was wrong. And I didn't. I thought this time, I can cash in that daughter coupon. Unfortunately, we didn't have the same agreement in regards to that matter. So I went on, of course. This reminds me of the tea bag video that I have. Whereas I was just like, okay, I'm on my own again. But this time around, it was a different type of feeling. It was more of a feeling of, imagine yourself, your younger self, doing track and field with the version of who you are now. That's how it felt. And so for the longest, I stayed consistent, I stayed persistent, and I was still able to accomplish what my goal I had, that I set out to check off my list. And in doing so, of course, animosity can come in, especially if you have siblings, all right? And I just made a vow to myself that no matter what happens, don't fold. We all bend. We all cry. We all have reasons why, we feel upset and mad. And we're validated in feeling like that, because sometimes, when something happens, every person has an inner child, and that inner child goes to the first thing they know by instinct will protect and provide and protect, however you want to put it, vice versa. And being that he wasn't available, that felt like I was left out in the cold, right? So moving forward, of course, I got things done, got things handled, right? One night I was on my way to sleep and this sermon came up. And mind you, the sermon kind of had the same legs of this story that I'm telling you. The parents, they had faith. They had a higher power that they believed in. And so they wanted to teach their children to walk by faith, not by, oh, well, you know what? I can just drive home real quick and see my dad and he'll fix it. So the parents were like, no, denied, hell to the no. You're going to have to figure this out yourself. You're going to have to figure this out yourself, and you're going to have to be there for yourself. You need to double down on yourself, and you need to double down on a higher power and see this through. Because the faith that you need to build is not something that should be man invested. It should be faith invested. And of course, I kind of had a moderate background when it comes to just my beliefs, seeing things through. I've always said the Lord was my president, so I don't know what y'all talking about out in these streets, even though I do keep up on it. But you see what I'm saying? I make my decisions based on, knowing that I can go and cash it in spiritually and know that it will be provided, versus me having to stand in a line or beg and plead or exploit my finances for folks to see if I'm doing par or subpar or not to get help. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about it. A lot of these places, and I hate to say it like this, what is it? Salvation Army, or you know what I'm saying? Like any of those type of things. I don't care. It's even down to welfare. Tell me or tell me not or no. They ask for your financials because they want to see how you're doing, where and how far down in there you are, because the further you are, the harder it will be for you to climb up out of that shit. And by the time you climb up out of that shit, you're like, whew, I need a break. So you're cool with just staying on that level. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a comfort. And when it becomes a comfort, all of a sudden you got bed linens and shit and pillows and shams and curtains. No. This ain't supposed to be no permanent stay. What you got curtains up for? What you got pictures up for? So if you put it in what eventually, of course, what you reap you sow, whether that's bad or good, it's going to come into fruition for you, versus you worry about it on man's time. All right, we make a lot of bills on man's time, and we want a spiritual break so we can get ahead, but we're not thinking about what's man invested and what's faith invested. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. So with that being said, I just kept on keeping on. Just like if you plant a garden, you gotta consistently and persistently stay on top of it. Pruning, all that good stuff, you gotta stay on top of it. Right? That's how you keep it green, right? So time goes on, I finished school, so on and so forth. One night I was on my way to bed, and like I said, these faith-rooted parents told their children as adults, it's time for you to build your faith where it's planted, and it will have like an everlasting growth to it. Because see, we're not going to be here long. So you need to have your shit, he didn't say that, but you need to have your shit rooted in something other than 10 fingers and 10 toes, and you can call them mommy and daddy. And so it just amazed me how they said, well, look, I want you to understand, we're not passing on trust funds. We're passing on faith. You got to build your faith. You got to believe in what it is that you believe. And you need to live how you believe. You're aligned with your higher power. Because if it's to inherit the earth, you have to be rooted in something. Alright? Material is not going to get you far as what faith will. Because miracles do happen. So when we look at ourselves, say for instance, on a track meet, and so we lined our all of the versions of ourselves up, all right? Whether that's 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 31, whatever the case may be, you line all those up, including who you are right now in the present. And every time the alarm goes off for you to get ready and to go, you have to pass on that baton to each one. And what is linked between each one? Faith, strength, power, determination, motivation, persistency, consistency, gratitude, self-worth, confidence, resilience. Need I go on? Every time you hand off that baton to the next stage of yourself, you're passing on wisdom and lessons and virtue and patience and morals and boundaries until you get to the present day you. So now, if you were to ever feel like you're in a rut, you're at a plateau, you need to check out that video called You're Here. Because that's exactly what I say. There's a difference between you being stuck and being at a plateau. A plateau in real life terms is you working your hardest to get things done. And you suddenly, like I said, you got bed sheets and linens and curtains and pictures and shit up. This is a temporary spot, place, you name it. This ain't no break, all right? This is temporary. So you got to do something different. And so I did. And when I tell you the time frames that I do speak to my dad, it's just solely just saying, hey, at the end of the day, the last 4 years, handing the baton and running to my future self to hand it off, you need to always stay on your toes. Always. And remember the things that you had to wait, you know, and as you look back and you see in the eyes of your younger self, you having the desire and the motivation and the will and just the audacity to believe, even when doors are shut, blinds are closed, and no one's answering their phone, you're going to hand that baton off. And when you do, you have a sense of relief, because guess what? Each one teach one. So the next time, again, you feel like it's becoming to be a strain, it's too much, keep on dissecting those feelings. What's too much? Because you look like you standing strong and mighty to me. So what's too much? You feel as if, like, you know, you're overwhelmed. Well, let's go ahead and declutter that bag. What's in there that's heavy? Because if it has no need for you, we need to unload it. Because 9 times out of 10, you're carrying more than just for yourself. And the more weight you have on your ankles, the longer, the harder, and the more will you will need to be able to pass off that baton. The thing is, it's what you're going to tell yourself to make it to your higher self what to do. Again, double down on you. You can do it. So, that's all I wanted to bring to y'all. Bring around to y'all. Converse with y'all about. It's just knowing when you hand it off, you are doing more than breaking any generational curse. You're building your own foundation. Because see, eventually, whatever it is that you have around you, from what you learned, from what you've been through, you can build a solid house, or you can build one of these Chinese drywall ass houses where if you get a good downpour, the shit will melt like fucking Alka-Seltzers. And then you gotta start all over. And most folks fuck up when they start in the same place over. Because sometimes all you're doing is continuing to hold on to secrets. That's going to weigh you down. You have to unload it, and you have to see to it that you can do it for it to change, for the better, for the future, for you. Period. Fuck doing things how people are used to doing them. Build your faith in having your own savings account. Build your faith in knowing that, you know, granted, you may not have what you see on TV. Hell, they don't either. But at least you know, find a happiness within what you can afford and stay below your means. So then that way you can enjoy life based on your standard of living. Well, a lot of times we base what we want off of what someone else has, not if it's going to make our life easier or not, or more full or not, or happier or not. Because materials can hold you down too. What's the difference between a squatter and someone who rents? They ain't got a lot of shit. Just saying. But needless to say, you tell me down below, what are you passing on? What are you letting go of? What are you doing to motivate you to do something different, better, to advance, to succeed, to excel, to elevate? What are you doing? What are you passing off? What have you learned through the years? Building your faith, and your faith getting you where you need to be, and you passing that baton off to your older self for you to be able to continue to build and continue to have faith. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? That baton is your power. And when you hand it to your older self, it gives you a foundation that very well people who aren't on the same path as you, that want to bring you down like a crab, they are intimidated by that. The devil don't want you to be able to pass no baton. They don't want you to be able to say that you did it and have a testimony. They want you to fry. Sizzle and pop, bitch. But it's up to you. It's up to you. So, you better do like Wilma, Rudolph, and Flojo. And you better figure it out. Because we all have things that hold us back. The only way to be faster is to have less as possible. So, that's my wisdom for today. I am going to go back to what I need to do here that I barely touched on my desk. And, yeah. Nilo is at cat care, so it's just me. So needless to say, go ahead and comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You fill my cup and I will fill yours, and I will talk to you later. Bye.